Let's freaking go! I don't have any confetti. Packing peanuts, those will do. Yes! Oh, crap. That's gonna suck to clean up. Oh, man. Okay, good. None got in the tea. We're good. Two may enter, but only one team can leave undefeated in the year of our Lord, 2023. Okay, here's the deal. During the day off, my 1-year-old, who's basically a factory of germs, decided to get me sick, so my voice is already on its last legs, especially after the stream, which if you joined, thanks for that. But as a result, I pretty much have one shot at this. So let's make it a good one. What's cracking, everybody, and welcome back to Kraken R&R, where the Seattle Kraken defeat the Boston Bruins 3-0 in shutout, handing them their first loss of the 2022-23 season in regulation at home. Cough drop. And tea. And now we just have the rest of the video. I'm just looking around for other teams that haven't lost yet this year. I don't seem to see any. Or for that matter, teams that have beaten Boston in regulation. Or shut them out this season, as the Kraken are the first team to do either one, as the Bruins came into this game with a 19-0-3 record at home, now a 19-1-3 record, as the Kraken do hand them their first shutout loss of the year, winning 3-0 for Martin Jones, his second shutout in as many games, going back to the game against Montreal, the 4-0 win there. Then Grubauer getting the start and winning in Buffalo, and now Jones coming back and getting a second shutout in a row against the Bruins. With the win, improving their current streak to 7 wins in a row, 6 of those on the road, tying a franchise record for 7 wins in a row, and an NHL record for 6 consecutive wins to start a road trip. Which, looking at Chicago, they do have a chance to set that NHL record, which does make me a little bit more nervous for a Chicago game that really we have no business being nervous about. And yet, decades of being a Seattle sports fan tell me otherwise. Aside from the streak, even more importantly, as a whole for the Kraken on the season, with this game marking the halfway point of the season, 41 games in, it improves their record to 25-12-4. Which, again, I'm going to bring up last season because it is the exact halfway point of this season. At this point last season, the Kraken had a record of 13-24-4. So same number of overtime or shootout losses, but a very different couple of numbers in the win and regulation loss columns. Although, to be fair, they did come off of a win with that game, their second one over the Florida Panthers, who would go on to win the President's Trophy. And coincidentally for the Kraken, Game 41 this season very well may also be against the future President Trophy winner. And once again, it's a win. But not just any old win. No, in fact, dare I say, this was the very best win in the history of the Seattle Kraken franchise. I mean, yeah, it's only been a season and a half, but still. Considering the quality of an opponent in the Boston Bruins, who, coming into this game, regardless of what they've been doing at home, which was historic in its own right, were not just by far the best team by record in the NHL, they were one of the best teams in the history of the NHL through half of a season. That I guess still are. Yeah, as far as meaning of the game overall, probably the game that started this road trip in Edmonton was the most important game the Kraken have ever played, considering it's a team that they had just gotten blown out by at home and is in their division and also in a playoff race with them. So losing to the Oilers would have had a lot more effect on the Kraken than losing to the Bruins. So to get that win, well, has the opposite of effect. Where the Bruins, it doesn't really matter if the Bruins got 1 or 2 points in this game. For the Kraken, obviously, it's good to get both of the points. But against the Oilers or even the Flames, those are teams that you could be competing with for a playoff spot. So yeah, that game probably means more. But this one definitely felt better. And we've also talked about, already on this road trip, in fact, statement wins for the Kraken, where coming into this game, there'd really been 2 that I could think of so far this season. Certainly the first one being in Vegas in late November, against the, well, still, I guess, Pacific Division leading team, winning in their building. And then earlier this road trip, going in and beating the Leafs at home, a team the Kraken had never beat, and was also one of the best teams in the NHL. But again, to go into Boston, where, as I've already said a couple of times, but it bears repeating, They were undefeated in regulation, 19-0-3. Were undefeated in 2023, just like the Kraken, though for the Bruins, they'd only won 4 games, where the Kraken had won 6. These are the 2 hottest teams in the NHL. The Kraken went in there and didn't just beat the Bruins, but shut them out 3-0. So if you want to talk about statement wins, this is the biggest statement the Kraken could possibly make. And honestly, this is probably the biggest win the Kraken are going to have for the rest of the season and maybe even some time to come. Well, at least until the playoffs anyway. And speaking of playoffs, which, yes, there still is half of a season left to go, so anything could still happen. But with this win, not only do the Kraken definitely improve their chances there, in fact, at the moment with the win, they are not only just 2 points back of leading the division, but they still have a game in hand of the one team in front of them. Actually, there's 2 teams in front of them. The Kings are also 2 points in front of the Kraken. The Kraken have 4 games in hand on them. That aside, though, just as far as this game is concerned, even if that final score does maybe make it look like the Kraken might have had their way with the Bruins, honestly, the truth couldn't be farther from it, as this really was a game that had a playoff type of feel. And for what it's worth, I wouldn't mind this being a playoff matchup that we end up seeing. I don't think either one of these 2 fan bases would. But again, we're getting too far ahead of ourselves. You'll have to forgive me a little bit as far as that's concerned. It's hard not to get really, really excited about where this team is headed after a win like this one. But focusing in on just this game, it was one that was very well played from both ends of the ice all the way through. And while I wouldn't necessarily say that Martin Jones stole this game, he certainly was the best Kraken player out on the ice. When I think of a goalie stealing a game, I tend to think more of like, well, what UC Saros did to the Carolina Hurricanes earlier this week, as I said during the stream, 64 saves. So it's more of a game where it's kind of lopsided in how the game feels, but the team where it's lopsided in their favor gets goaltendered, if you will, and ends up losing just because of how well the team that was getting outplayed's goaltender was playing, if that makes sense. Which, no matter how you look at it, was definitely not the case in this game, as both teams traded opportunities at the offensive end, getting to hold the offensive end and getting a few chances off, and then also at different points just trading rushing chances either way. Both teams playing very well defensively in their end of the ice. And even beyond that, when it came to shots on goal, the Kraken were actually outshooting the Bruins almost 2-1 for most of the game, which really only started to even up in the back half of the third period. The only place really that you could see the Bruins absolutely dominate the Kraken in this game was in the face-off circle. Again, a place the Kraken really have not done very well, where the Bruins won 30 of the 41 face-offs. So that leaves just 11 then that the Kraken won. Though with all that having been said, it is fair to point out that the first couple minutes of this game, it did seem like this one might be one that would go the Bruins' way, as they were the first ones to really get a good stay in the opponent's end of the ice, spending the vast majority of the first 2, maybe even 3 minutes of this game in the Kraken end, getting the puck around the outside. But again, the Kraken doing a very good job of locking down the center of their offensive end and not allowing any chances from there. And eventually, the Kraken are able to get back out the other way and draw a penalty to go to the first power play of the game. A power play that they do actually manage to get set up, but they don't, I think, even end up getting a shot off on goal, or a shot attempt for that matter, as the Bruins penalty kill, which is the best in the NHL coming into this game with an 85.8% kill rate, does its job really throughout the course of this game. The Kraken would end up getting 3 power plays, and while they did get at least 1 good chance on all of them, were not able to convert. And on top of that, even coming out of this first power play, though the Kraken were able to kind of snag the momentum of the game over the next few minutes, the Bruins, like the Kraken had done in the first few, were doing a very good job defensively in their end, not allowing very many high danger chances for Seattle, which does make this feel like it's going to be a pretty defense first game. And for the Kraken, their strength has definitely been offense so far this season. Now the defense has been pretty good as well, but not as good as the Bruins defense. Meanwhile, while the Kraken offense has been fantastic, the Bruins offense has been even better. So it kind of felt like coming into this game, if the Kraken wanted to win it, they were going to have to really outscore the Bruins through this game in order to do so. By which I mean, obviously they're going to have to outscore the Bruins to win the game, but I mean more that they were going to have to win a high-scoring offensive game, and that if this was more of a goaltender defensive duel, that the Boston offense was probably going to push through more times than the Kraken were able to. However, As we know, Jones and the Kraken defense stood strong at that end of the ice. And eventually, the Kraken are the ones that get on the board first. I mean, obviously it's a shutout, so of course they get on the board first. But it comes from a kind of weird shot that goes from Sprong, pulling the puck off the boards. He just gets to the boards, and as he's crashing into them, flings the puck at the net, misses the net, but Tanev is standing right there, as he would later say, waiting for potentially a rebound that he could put in front of it. Instead, the puck comes straight at him, so he puts his stick on the ice. The puck goes off of his stick, off a hard angle, and somehow into the back of the net, right through the goal line. I mean, genuinely, from the screenshot, I have no idea how this puck gets into the goal, as Tanev's stick is on the goal line a few feet to the side of the goal. I don't know if it goes off Ullmark or what, but it goes into the net on the far side. It gives the Kraken the 1-0 lead. That having been said, well, Tanev may have just been in the right place at the right time to tip this goal in. The entire play before that, other than Sprong pulling it off the boards, was pretty much also all Brandon Tanev, as he actually starts this play from the Kraken defensive end, passing the puck up through the neutral zone, as I don't actually know who it was that threw the puck into the offensive end, but everyone else goes off for a change. Tanev just skates up the ice and then down into the offensive end. As the puck goes into the far corner, he goes down and lays a big forechecking hit along the boards in the corner, forcing that puck along the boards in a less controlled manner than I think the Bruins really wanted it, which allowed it to get all the way up to Sprong, who then pulls it off the boards, throws it out to the net where Tanev tips it in. So for Tanev on this play, it's pretty much everything we've loved to see from him all season long, and all of the part of the season he got to play last year. A full 200-foot play as he starts it offensively, and then finishes it with the great forecheck and tip in at the other end of the ice. And of course, involving a big hit along the boards in the process. Again, though, being the team that they are, the Bruins weren't just going to go away, as they pressed through the middle of the period trying to get that goal back, and very nearly do, just a couple minutes later, as they press into the offensive end on a rush chance, and get one of two very good scoring chances that they really had throughout the course of this game. I mean, they had the puck and had some chances up and around the net, but there were really two chances that they had with open shots in very high danger locations, this being one of them, as Coyle gets a pass completely forgotten by the Kraken defense out in the slot, and fortunately for Jones and the Kraken, the pass is just far enough out in front of him that he has to reach out, bring it to him before firing off the shot. If this had been a one-timer, it may have ended up in the back of the net, but that reach and pull back to him allows Jones to get in position to still make a pretty big save. And eventually, once again, following a good Bruins push, the Kraken are able to press back and get another power play. This one does go a bit better than the first one. Well, actually, I shouldn't really say that. I guess as a whole, it goes a little better than the first one, as the Kraken do get a couple of pretty good scoring chances. But so do the Bruins, as Marchand gets a good look on the Kraken net. That one is also saved by Jones, Brad Marchand being, other than just a pest, the highest scoring player in the history of the Boston Bruins on the shorthanded attempts. I probably could have said that better, but he has the most shorthanded goals for the Bruins in their history. So anyway, again, as we already knew, the Kraken power play comes up short for a second time, and then they do press very hard over the next few minutes to try to make it 2-0 at 5-on-5, where, let's face it, they're better 5-on-5 anyway. Beniers gets a good chance, McCann gets a good look, Schwartz gets a couple of good looks, but nothing more is getting past Ullmark in this first period, who, to his credit, also played very well in this game, just not quite as well as Jones. And eventually, the Bruins actually end up getting the next power play with just over 2 minutes left in the period. And, well, for the Kraken, the penalty kill has been going a lot better of late, especially on this road trip and during this winning streak. But the Bruins power play, like a lot of the ones the Kraken have been facing, is one of the best in the league. In fact, they came in at third best. Now, the last team that came in third best was the Ottawa Senators, and they're now all the way down at 6, so maybe the Kraken have a chance, and sure enough, they do end up killing this one off. Second period features a lot of what we saw in the first, with the two teams trading opportunities at either end of the ice, getting set up, getting some chances off, rotating the puck, getting more chances, and the other team just playing very solid, not really allowing much through the middle. Right up until both teams decide to start allowing chances up the middle, and it starts with, well, actually the Bruins allow Eberle to get a very good look from Beniers, but Eberle whiffs on it, and then it goes right back the other way one pass later. It's Pasternak on a breakaway with a chance to tie it, and Jones makes the save as he stays calm in the face of a lot of pressure with one of the NHL's best goal scorers bearing down on him, and makes, honestly, he makes it look pretty routine.
it's not hardly even worth showing a screenshot, as Jones just kind of stays there, waits for Pastrnak to take the shot, and then blockers it to the side. So, still a very, very big save from Jones, probably his best of the game, even if it didn't really necessarily look that way to the untrained eye. The Kraken then get a couple of rush chances of their own back the other way as Sprong gets a look, though that one, it's a partial breakaway, and unfortunately the defender who's catching up to him is catching up to him on his forehand side, so as Sprong goes to take the shot, the stick is there to defend it. Then a little bit later, it's Tanev who gets out in front of the net with the puck with no one in front of him. He gets the shot off, but a very nice stick save is made through the 5-hole of Ullmark. The Kraken get another power play, which again doesn't score. Then the Bruins get probably their best push of the entire game, which leads to 3 chances on Jones from right up in front. Fortunately, there's some Kraken defenders too that make it at least not an easy job for the Bruins, and Jones is making it even harder by blocking all of it, as Hall gets a couple of chances, Trent Frederick gets a chance. All of that is saved and gets back out the other way where Everly gets a rush chance, though that is also saved. And it looks like we're going to get to the end of 2 with the score still 1-0. But just as the clock ticks past a minute, getting into the final seconds of this second period, the Kraken get back down to the offensive end. Bjorkstrand with the puck, waits around looking for a pass, doesn't really have any lanes as the Bruins are closing in on him, so he fires off a shot at the net, which is blocked well out in front. It goes off of the thigh of Trent Frederick, out harmlessly into the high slot, or it would have been harmlessly anyway, if Tolvanen wasn't there, and while he is facing the opposite direction, he's able to get that puck, whip around 180, and fire it off at the net without even looking, and it finds the back of it to give the Kraken the 2-0 lead. Of course, it is worth mentioning that actually, much like Tanev's goal, there was a moment of hesitation. Tolvanen knew right away that he had scored as his arms go up in the air, but everyone else is kind of looking around like, that was in, right? Well, he's saying it's in, so sure. As the shot from Tolvanen, which gets him his 4th on the season for the Kraken, 6th overall, as he had 2 with Nashville, 2 goals and 2 assists in 13 games with Nashville. He now has 4 goals and 2 assists in 7 games for the Kraken, so yeah, that's looking like a real good pickup. Thanks, Predators. But his shot goes in and out of the net so quickly, going off of actually ringing around that bar that goes behind the crossbar. It goes in and out so quick that only really Tolvanen seemed sure that it had gone into the net at first. Well, him and the official who was pointing at the net. But sure enough, on replay looking down, it just rings right around that and right out the other side. It's a goal for the Kraken, and they've got a very important multi-goal lead, which they do maintain over the next 48 seconds into the second intermission. Now, yes, at this point with a 2-0 lead heading into the third, you're feeling pretty good if you're a Kraken fan, but not by any means is this game over. Again, everything we've said about the Bruins and how good they are at home, how good they are in general, is all especially true in the third period, where they have the best goal differential that is in the third period in the entire NHL, and it's really not even close. And just like their record, it's even better at home. We've already seen it a few times this season where they go in down in the third period, and then bing, bang, boom, they have the win at the end of the third. So knowing that going into the third, well, this third period kind of felt like what I imagine Vancouver Canucks fans feel whenever they have a 2-goal lead. Even with a 2-goal lead, it felt like it might as well be a tie game, and that every last play and handle of the puck really, really mattered. In the end, it turned out that wasn't necessarily the case. I mean, it probably still was, but the Kraken do a good job of handling the puck. As this is a defensive showdown at both ends of the ice, the Kraken were still trying to add on, but the Bruins playing very strong in their end, and the Kraken not allowing anything through the middle of the ice. Well, at least nothing uncontested through the middle of the ice. The puck did find its way out in front of the Kraken net a few times, and a few chances off in front of it, but whenever the puck was in front of the Kraken net, you could bet that at least 2 or 3 defenders were going to be there as well, which certainly muddied things up and allowed Jones to either freeze the puck or allowed a defenseman to get it out to the side out of harm's way. And as far as Jones' part in this third period, and really the game in general is concerned, a large part of the reason that he was so good in this game, and a large part of what has made him so good when he's hot, is that he did a very, very good job of not allowing rebounds, and when he did allow rebounds, they were intentionally put places that Bruins players couldn't get to them. Even with the Pastrnak breakaway, that Charlie Coyle shot that we saw earlier on in the game, both of those he just smothered or blockered off to the side where nothing could come of a rebound shot. And that became very important with the best chance that the Bruins really got in this third period to score, as a puck gets shot off on net, and if this puck rebounds, well, there's two Bruins players on either side of the net, as the Kraken defense had one of their rare lapses in this game. But while Jones does allow a rebound here, it kind of just spills out of him, and he's still poised right in front of that puck, so when the next shot comes, as I want to say it was Pastrnak or maybe it was Bergeron, tries to push the puck across the line through Jones' pad, he's able to stick that foot out and hold it strong on the goal line, not allowing the puck to get in. Where again, had he allowed a bigger rebound or basically anything other than just the puck trickling out of him after the shot, that would have pretty easily been just a puck lifted over his pad and into the back of the net to bring the Bruins to within one. Fortunately, though, the Kraken survived this thanks to Martin Jones and continue to play solid defense the rest of the way. Eventually, Ullmark gets pulled with 5 minutes left. The Bruins really trying to make something happen, and they basically spend that 5 minutes in the offensive end pushing it around the outside, and it's a lot of their big-name players doing it for basically the entire time. Marchand's out there, Bergeron, Pastrnak. Yeah, the guys that you know as Boston Bruins were all out on the ice, 6-on-5, passing it around the outside, trying to find something, anything as far as a high-danger chance, but the Kraken, again, not allowing anything to the inside of the ice. And eventually, it's Schwartz who finds the empty net as he chips it backhand out, and it trickles into the net, which did pretty much finish off the game at that point. All that was left was to kill off like a minute and a half left of game time to save the shutout, which the Kraken do, winning the game 3-0. So as we said in the beginning, a huge win for the Kraken, not necessarily because of what it means overall. In fact, the Kraken have been doing so well on this road trip, and with 6 games in a row coming into it, that had they dropped this one, it would have been a bummer to see the winning streak come to an end, but it wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. But to go in and win this game and win it the way they did, a full 60-minute effort defensively, offensively, taking what they were given and trying to make the most of it. Again, the Bruins playing very solid defensively for most of the game, and Ullmark playing a very good game in net. The Kraken just played better defensively and better in net. Yes, I'm sure that if you went to the Boston Bruins subreddit or a Boston forum, sports forum of some kind, you'd probably see fans disagreeing with the fact that the Bruins played this one well, and if your team gets shut out, you're probably not feeling too great about how they played. The Kraken just were up to the task and played up to the Bruins, and pretty much out-Bruined them. Other than in the face-off circle, where, again, the Kraken were downright terrible in this game. In fact, one of their worst games of a not very good season when it comes to winning face-offs. Which the Bruins, and especially Patrice Bergeron, are exceptional at winning. With all that having been said, as much as I would like to continue spending another 20 minutes gushing over the Kraken in this game, how they played it, how they played this road trip, and what it's meant for where this season could be headed compared to last season, all that stuff, all the different players that played well, both Donato and Beniers returning home to Boston where they grew up and playing a game like this against the Bruins. Well, my voice is not doing as well as it might sound, and I don't even know if it sounds all that great, even beyond the fact that thanks to my Dayquil or Kirkland Dayquil brain, I forgot to turn on my mic for the first half of this video, and now it's finally on. So maybe it's sounding a little bit better. It's not feeling that well is the point. Obviously, I'm a little fuzzy in the head, and I'm already out of tea, so yeah, we gotta probably get to the 3 stars and get through this one. So for the first star, I mean, it's obviously Martin Jones. You know it's Martin Jones. He has a fantastic game. Let's look. He saves 27 of 27 shots, and well, maybe only 3 or 4 of those were particularly high-quality uncontested shots. He stopped all of them, and against a team like the Bruins that is coming into this game second in league scoring, yeah, that's a pretty good game. So Martin Jones, first star, again, rebound control, and just staying calm in net even when there were good chances, staying calm in net. So yeah, basically a game from him that I had no choice but to give him the first star. The second star, I have gone back and forth with this and around in circles. I think I even picked, actually I don't even think I picked this player to have a star after the game during the live stream, but I'm going to give it to Brandon Tanev. He had a fantastic game, gets the Kraken on the board first, the game-winning goal as it would turn out. And again, like we talked about, while he may have just kind of been in the right place at the right time, which is still part of the deal, that whole play and everything he'd been doing this game is what led up to that goal. Great 200-foot play, back check, forward check. He was all over the ice all night, including on that goal that he ends up scoring. Then the third star in this game, this is where it does get a little tougher. Basically, I'm between two guys here, those being Sprong and Tolvanen. And honestly, for Tolvanen, while he does get the second goal in this game and had a very good game as well, I do think that some of that's just how excited we are about Tolvanen and the whole news coming out of Nashville of their general manager saying it may have been a mistake to let him go, which just makes Kraken fans feel even better. I think Sprong had the better overall game here. Obviously gets the assist on the Tanev goal, so I'm going to give the third star to Daniel Sprong. Tolvanen still an honorable mention, and I'll hand out actually two other honorable mentions in this game. Plenty of guys had great games, but it's going to be the two Boston natives in Beniers and Donato that get those. Both of them had fantastic games. Neither one gets on the score sheet, but yeah, great games from them. I will say that Beniers had his chances. He had the one that was saved by Olmark in the first period, and then he had a open look that may have ended up saved anyway during one of the power plays. But with a shot that he has, if he gets open looks like that, you just want him to take it. He ended up opting for a pass to Eberle, which had it gotten through, may have scored, but it was defended before it got through, so the Kraken don't even get a scoring chance there. And Beniers was definitely kicking himself on the bench afterwards, so still a great game other than that. And yeah, there you go. 3 stars, Jones, Tanev, and Sprong. And yeah, I mean, what else is there to say about this game? I'm sure you'll let me know down in the comment section, or just continue to gush over it. The biggest win, not only of the season or the franchise for the Kraken, but probably the biggest win to come until they end up in the playoffs. Which I was careful to phrase that way, as to not suggest that they're guaranteed to make the playoffs this year, so as to not jinx anything, with things going pretty well so far to this point. Anyways, you can probably tell, sickness brain has definitely started to set in, if it hadn't the entire video, so my train of thought has left the station and left a little bit ago. So we'll close this one out. If you have made it to this point, thank you very much for watching. If you did like or enjoy this video, or the stream, which again, if you were part of that, thank you for joining. There's buttons for that kind of stuff down below to help support the channel, like, subscribe, all that goodness. And until next time, in Chicago, against a team the Kraken should beat, which almost makes us as nervous as teams that they should maybe lose to, like the Bruins, who they just beat. Anyway, until that game, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. God bless, and go Kraken.